This is Travel Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, we present you with another incredible country. Today, we're looking at 15 things you didn't know about Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get informed. Hello, Aluxers. Fancy a trip to Latin America? Today we're heading straight to Trinidad and Tobago, the island country born with so many influences, it's quickly become one of the most underrated destinations. It's a feast of cultural diversity, beautiful landscapes, and some great talented musicians. The country is actually two islands, Trinidad being the big one, and Tobago its twin little sister. Their population is quite small, only 1.36 million citizens, but with so many influences, they are feisty, fiery, and very exotic. To learn more about their culture, heritage, and amazing facts, we've gathered the highlights, the news, and the secrets you never heard about this country. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. Travel alert, you might fall in love with this country after watching our video. Just don't say we didn't warn you. Number 1. It's illegal to wear camo unless you're from the army. Sometimes your clothes will always attract unwanted attention. If you're too bold, people will stare. If you're too naked, they'll judge. And if you don't know the culture, you might just break the law. In Trinidad, it's illegal to wear camouflage print outside of the army. Camo and army style is very loved by a lot of people, so you might want to drop it if you're ever in the country, because camouflage print is reserved specifically for the nation's military. If they see civilians wearing it, they ask them to remove it immediately, so unless you want to do a public display of nudity, make sure to do your research and pack accordingly. Number 2. The best cocoa in the world comes from right here. You would think the finest cocoa beans only come from Ghana, the Ivory Coast, or Indonesia, but in fact, the best cocoa beans are harvested from Trinidad and Tobago. The Trinitario variety that can be found here is very stable and a high-quality hybrid bean. Their cocoa plantations only account for 5% of the world's cocoa production, but the unique flavor and great quality makes them one of the best, and they don't come cheap either. A single bar of this fine chocolate or a pack of cocoa nibs can cost up to $30. Some of their cocoa companies sell their chocolate in Harrods and other websites too, meaning that you don't have to travel the world to taste their delicacies. Number 3. They have European, African, and American influences in all areas. Trinidad and Tobago is possibly the country with the most variety when it comes to influences. Since their beginnings, they've been under so many from many countries that it's become hard to pinpoint their true identity. They've been colonized by the Dutch, by Spain, by Portugal, by the French, the British, Venezuelans, Amerindians, and West African tribes have stepped in there. Since the country is relatively small, you can see the influences in names, cuisine, music, architecture, or even traditions at every step. The national language is English, but most cities have Spanish names. It's a mix of all the best things. Number 4. Being gay is no longer a crime in Trinidad and Tobago. The whole Latin American continent is very exotic and full of opposites. They're very religious, but also very open-minded. They're very passionate, but also very conservative. The LGBTQ community scored a big win in Trinidad this fall. Same-sex relationships were getting up to 5 years in jail, but they're still far from legalizing same-sex marriage. More than 50% of the population is Christian, so it might take a while to accept it, even though Latin America is quite inclusive regarding this subject. Number 5. The richest person in Trinidad is a woman. Trinidad and Tobago is in fact the country with the third highest GDP per capita based on purchasing power parity, or PPP, in the Americas, after the United States and Canada. The main money-making industries are oil, natural gas, and some agriculture. There aren't too many billionaires there, and the richest person is actually a woman. Her name is Helen Bhagwan Singh, and her net worth is estimated to be $5.5 billion. She started in the 60s with hardware and gradually added cement, steel, and lumber to the product range. She took the business from her father and made it into one of the most recognized household names in the country. Number 6. Syrian and Lebanese drug cartels make around 20% of the GDP. Like any country that's above the developing stage, some crime and illegalities are present. In Trinidad, the biggest problem is with drug cartels, and unfortunately for them, they are ruled by Syrian and Lebanese immigrants. They're doing so well that around 20% of the hidden economy of Trinidad is related to the substances. There are two main drug cartels, the Syrian-Lebanese one and the Indo-Trinidadian one. And unfortunately, these drug cartels are so powerful, they're able to limit free market policies in health, finance, and land distribution. Number 7. Jack Warner has been accused multiple times of corruption. Jack Warner is a well-known and respected man in Trinidad and Tobago. He's a politician, businessman, and football executive. Most people know him as a member of the FIFA Executive Committee and as the main suspect in the corruption scandal regarding the 2022 World Cup tournament. He's been accused so far about 10 times over allegations of corruption, money laundering, and bribes. His time at FIFA has been very controversial, and it seems that he may have squeezed millions of dollars from it over the years. Currently, he's trying to clear his name because the U.S. is expecting him to surrender and address the criminal accusations that have been going on since 2015. Looking at his career and his $160 million fortune, he's probably guilty. Number 8. Their only female gymnast from the 2016 Olympics is hated. If you thought only football is full of scandals and controversies, well, you need to take a peek at other sports too. Gymnastics, and especially female gymnastics, is a very tough place. In Trinidad and Tobago, the only female gymnast that qualified for the 2016 Olympics is hated to death. It's all because she's Canadian-born and because she allegedly stole the qualification from her rival, who was actually born in Trinidad. There isn't enough evidence to point the guilt at Marisa Dick, but she also didn't win anything at the Olympics. Number 9. They have natural, glowing pools. Tourism in Trinidad and Tobago is not the main industry. Although they're located in the Caribbean region, they're not as popular as other countries like the Bahamas, Jamaica, or Costa Rica. Those who choose to visit this underrated country are in for some major surprises. They have beautiful exotic beaches, a lot of wildlife and sea life, great hotels, and most importantly, natural glowing pools. It's a weird and unique phenomenon called bioluminescence, and it's a defense mechanism of the plankton living in the waters. It helps them keep predators away, and it makes the water glow at night when you disturb it. It's kind of like the aurora borealis, but in the water. Number 10. The magnificent 7 houses are a national symbol. Most Caribbean countries have a specific architectural style that's suited for the climate and their lifestyle. In Trinidad, there are few mansions in Port of Spain where you can see the influences of all the colonies that stepped foot there, from Spain to the British and the Dutch. The 7 mansions are called the Magnificent Seven and are all located alongside Queen's Park Savannah and are now a national symbol. 6 of the mansions were bought by the government from the families that owned them for over $1 million each to turn them into institutions. They're still in great shape and make for awesome Instagram pictures. Trinidad sure sounds like a great destination, doesn't it? It really is. But if you still struggle to justify travels, then head over to our video 15 Reasons Why You Should Travel the World before purchasing that one-way ticket. Just click in the top right corner to check it out. Number 11. They have one of the highest crime rates in the world. With drug cartels and other crimes happening in Trinidad, and also the proximity to other controversial countries like Mexico or Brazil, their crime rate is quite high. Of course, statistics change over time, but some things like tourist scams can be found anywhere. It's better to travel with a buddy, during the day and always on marked paths. You also need to be cautious about your accommodations, public transportation, cabs, airports, or highways. Also, do your research in depth, because not everything you read on the internet is true, and if you behave and go with a polite and positive attitude, you might have an amazing experience. Number 12. The finest rum they produce costs $25,000 per bottle. If you thought chocolate was the only pricey thing to get from Trinidad and Tobago, you're very wrong. If you ever visit any of the Caribbean islands, you'll know that rum is a very popular alcoholic beverage. The most popular rum brand is from House Angostura. They make a special rum that's supposed to be savored alone, not with Coca-Cola or another mix. It's called Angostura Legacy, and it comes in a special package, a red and beautiful box for only $25,000. You could buy 1,500 bottles of Bacardi, one of the world's most popular rum brands, for that same amount. They only made 20 bottles of it, and it sold out worldwide pretty quickly. Number 13. They have a fruit that's used as tattoo ink, antibiotics, and dessert. There are some crazy fruits and legumes on the market, and if you visit some parts of Asia, Africa, and Latin America, you're bound to find some tasty and weird fruits you've never heard of before. Trinidad and Tobago grows a certain kind of fruit called hagua that's used for multiple purposes. The fruit resembles a melon and tastes like dried apple when ripe. People often use it as temporary tattoo ink because it can color the skin just like henna, as an insect repellent, as an antibiotic, or simply as dessert. So far, it's the weirdest and most impressive fruit we've seen. Do you agree? Number 14. One of the hottest peppers in the world is from Trinidad. Trinidad has a special climate that allows them to grow certain foods and flowers. Since it's so hot and humid, exotic things such as red-hot peppers thrive. In fact, one of the hottest peppers in the world grows here, and it's probably not one you've heard of. It's not the hottest pepper in the world, but it's up there in the top 5 next to the Carolina Reaper and ghost pepper. The Moronga scorpion pepper has been crowned as the hottest pepper in 2012, but other hybrids have appeared in the meantime. The Trinidad pepper ranks as high as 2,009,231 Scoville heat units on the Scoville scale, which measures the spiciness or hotness of peppers and other spicy foods. Number 15. They invented goat racing. By far, one of the weirdest sports we've heard of is goat racing. It's not only peculiar, but also originating from Bucco, Trinidad and Tobago. It's so popular there that they even elevated the sport to the rank of unofficial public holiday. The Bucco Goat Race Festival is Tobago's most internationally acclaimed festival. It's also popular in other places of the world too, and it's a great source of income and tourism. The race is not a regular race. The jockeys run alongside their goats, guiding them with a 9-foot leash and a whip. The winning goat is awarded food, and the jockey gets some money. The Caribbean is indeed a magical place. The entire region is beyond beautiful and at the same time full of surprises. Trinidad and Tobago never ceases to impress the world, in spite of the stereotypes people have about them. Speaking of stereotypes and perspectives, we're curious to know, what's your opinion about their reputation? Why are they getting so little love? Let us know in the comments. And of course, for sticking with us all the way to the end, we have another fact for you, a bonus fact, and this one is more historical. Number 16. The first Black Miss Universe was from Trinidad. Beauty pageants are very controversial these days. People don't believe in a standard beauty anymore, especially since that beauty is most times unrealistic and outdated, not to mention photoshopped. A few times in the history of Miss Universe, Black models have won the crown. This happened in 1977 for the first time, when Janelle Comisiong became the first person of African ethnicity to win the Miss Universe contest. She was representing Trinidad and Tobago and is one of the few women of color to have ever won this competition. Of course, people in Trinidad take great pride in this fact. Thank you for spending some time with us, A-Luxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. Thank you for being an A-Luxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.